Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. I'd like to first acknowledge that we're standing and gathering on the traditional lands of the Bunurong and Wurundjeri peoples, and we offer our respects to elders past, present, and emerging, and to all the Aboriginal and Torres Islander people. Sovereignty was never ceded, and we're on the stolen land. Thanks for joining Lena for our artist talk. So I'd like to introduce you to Lena Becerra from Argentina, and who's recently come over to Australia in 2019, and who's recently been in a show at Black Tap Gallery, and who won the first prize at Meanwhile Within Our Souls Art Prize, an exhibition at Frunce Arts Center. Welcome, Lena.
Thank you, Gary. Thanks for having me.
It's so great to meet you in person and have this conversation in person. It's been so long.
I know. I'm very grateful to be here together.
Yes, that's great. To start with, do you want to walk us through your practice and your background?
So I'm a visual artist, and I was born in Argentina, in Mendoza, and I grew up in Buenos Aires, where I studied the degree of visual arts. My major was printmaking.
Yeah.
But in 2018 I did a residency in Florence, in Santa Reparata School of Art.
Yeah.
And there I started exploring more of sculptural works and installations, and really at the moment exploring all kinds of media, video, still printmaking, and yeah.
That's good. How did kind of your journey from printmaking into sculpture, installation, and more with spatial arts right now that kind of evolve, and how does that kind of show in your work now?
I feel like when I was studying, I found in printmaking a language that I liked. When I realized I could do both and really use the space to give the public more of an immersive experience, I really like that. So I think the language is the same, but the mediums have changed, and they all connect with each other.
Yeah. This project Frunce, correct me if I'm wrong. It comes from Spanish origin word, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to perhaps explore on what meanings it holds and what message you wanted to deliver across?
So for Frunce, I started exploring sort of. So the title came through. I was introduced to this philosopher, which is Deleuze.
Yeah.
And in his book of The Fall, is it called in English? He talks about the Baroque, but about faults in society. He finds the world as a big multiple foldings, and I found that idea interesting to adapt to my work, which is about things that don't fit in society, in what's given as normal or mainstream. I'm really interested in exploring everything that is outside of that, sort of emerging, and to explore maybe languages of being vulnerable, of fluidity. But from my own experience, from my experience back home, with the communities I've made here. So
I think I read briefly about the reading that you just mentioned, and it explores interesting points about folding, refolding, unfolding, and the wrinkles on the skin surface, and I can see that through your works here as well. It's when I look at your sculptures, they do definitely remind me of feminine body, female body, or organic, or something that is very moving, evolving. Do you want to explore more about your sculptures and how they come to, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Yeah, so I try to use sort of materials that had a memory or that inspired a feeling yourself, and it's all about that, about surfaces that are not clean, that like have wrinkles, have like marks, textures, things that really like are visceral or like very organic as well.
It's almost like it portrays like tracking of time or like history, like traits. You know, it kind of gives your work its own individuality and uniqueness, and I really love that because although they may look familiar, like very similar to each other, especially the threads works. Yeah, but when you look into it, observe it, then it has its own elements and features. And I realized that you explore about skin and tension in your work a lot. Can you explain maybe ideas behind them or how they become interested to you?
Yeah, definitely. That's something that I've been exploring for a long time, and I still it still shows in my work, which is exploring about possible skins that are not literally like the representation of a skin, but something sort of synthetic that we can inhabit and that has all this information about like a possible skin that shows memory, and I think that still shows in these works in one of the threads, but yeah, it's been evolving.
No, that's great. I realized that like you said I think in one of your Instagram posts that skin is like a protection at the same time, and also it's like what holds the materials or our body, intact, I guess. How did you become interested in exploring skin, and how do you find it linked to feminism or feminist identities or female body?
I think in that sense I was interested in the concept of skin because it's something that is protecting but at the same time is holding you back, it's retaining you. So depends on the context and what's happening to you. It can feel like very something very oppressive,
That's
or
true, yeah.
something that is protecting. Like it has that both
aspects.
Yeah. And I felt it linked to my interest in feminism because that is a feeling that I was having and that I perceive on my female friends and in the community. A feeling in society that sometimes we are very oppressed and we are having to inhabit places where the structure is actually like oppressing us.
That's right, yeah.
But yeah, there's also the side of the skin where we are holding each other, we are making community, so yeah, I'm interested in showing those both sides.
Yeah, that's so true. It's like, it's what makes us vulnerable at the same time.
Yeah.
And I can see how that is linked to the societal unfairness or injustice that you want to explore. Do you adapt your personal narratives in your video or in your work?
Yeah, I think I'm always talking about my personal experiences and narratives. In the video, I was trying to show, like elements that were showing like fluidity, some sort of materials that were like between central but also disrupting, kind of, yeah, like,
Yeah, it's very like immersive
yeah.
ways of experiencing the world and yourself and the space. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. And the poem that my friend is reading in the video is from an Argentinian poet, and I think her work is also has been inspiring for me. The fact that my friend is reading it I think is like this very beautiful feeling of community.
Definitely, it's like you added a voice from your own like community or your own network, support network, and that also like adds more empowerment, I think, to the message. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a feeling.
I have a question from myself that I was wondering as I looked through your work. You don't use many colors, like many different colors. It's almost always black, but sometimes you use red threads. Is there a reason that you kind of go with mostly black, or?
I think that's very interesting. The last project I did, most of the things were red. So I really like focusing on the chromatic aspect of the work, because it also carries a message. And when something is so monochromatic, like you put the focus as well on the shapes and on what that chroma is trying to tell you or what it's engaging with. At the moment I chose black because I was exploring some sort of silence, some darkness, something very deep and some kind of void.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm interested in at the moment.
Yeah. When you come to imagine your work while you're working, how to put them together in one space, how did you kind of imagine to curate it for the public?
That was super tricky right now because we were in lockdown and I was trying to I was developing work and ideas, they were in my head, but I couldn't place them in space.
Yeah.
But I really wanted the public to be able to walk, had to walk through them and had to sort of meet with the pieces, not from a distance, but be able to be very close and have to I like when people are touching things and I'm super interested in that.
That's cool because usually we're so used to the idea of don't touch.
Exactly.
Especially in galleries, museums, there's sometimes a line or barricade, but yeah, that's very inviting. And I was looking at your installation, walking through, and I definitely, try to watch my step, and it was really interesting to view your work up close and also from a bit farther away, and I think that's really interesting.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. I think it's a lot more interesting when the own public is becoming aware of what's in the space.
Yeah.
And is able to get close and get into the details.
Yeah, it felt like I was in control of my experience and interaction with your work.
Yes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. This is perhaps last question. Was the art making process a lot different in the midst of the pandemic and especially under lockdowns in Melbourne? And did that change your work or your way of making art?
Yes, that is very relevant.
Of course.
Yeah, because all of the pieces of this project were made during the lockdown and
you did very well. Very impressive.
Yeah, I'm really happy, but it was tricky because your space is smaller and your world is smaller during lockdown.
That's right, yeah.
It was very interesting, very introspective, I think. I enjoy, spending lots of hours working by myself in a studio, but I definitely was missing working with others and seeing others. It was very tricky, but I was happy to keep doing art.
No, that's good. I love this. Like, I wouldn't have thought like there are new works you made during lockdown. So, do you think at the end the limitations like kind of worked in favor for you, or they were kind of like hard to juggle with? Yeah.
I think that I managed to put my energy into that, which was great.
Yeah.
And definitely the lack of real life events put me to work in the video as a whole, and that was really I'm grateful for that.
That's good. That's good. I'm so happy, we got to I got to see your work. So privileged. Before we move on to your future plans or upcoming shows, are there any other notes that you want to make?
No, I'm just really grateful to be able to develop this project and to meet you.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I finally got to meet you like outside the screen, beyond the Zoom meetings. Yeah. Can you share us your future plans or upcoming shows or exhibitions?
It's exciting. I have an upcoming show in February in the Frunce Art Center.
Yeah.
And that project is very deeply linked to this one. And it's gonna be a show that it's part of a Latino festival.
Yeah.
So that's it. Upcoming plans in the future.
Congratulations. I'm so excited for you. Thanks for today. It's been such a pleasure to have you and hear from you in person, especially about your work. Thank you, Lena.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.